Coming to you from the Trumbull Insurance Agency virtual studio. Turn your stress and anxiety into peace and security with Trumbull Insurance. Contact Patrick Van Kemper today for all your insurance needs at 540-532-0622. And for the rest of our sponsors, Regroup Building Services, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. This is Divisional Breakdown here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. And here to break it all down with me, unfortunately, Dan Demski could not be here today. We wish him all the best. But the Swiss Army knife is right here with me, Carlos Martinez. Hello, Carlos. How are we?
And the home of the four-time appearances, Chiefs.
All right. Happy over here. It is a great day. And yes, Brett Johnson is here. He likes the Chiefs. So, Brett, thanks for tuning in. But before we get to anything else, Carlos, once again, thanks for coming on with me tonight. Sean Payton is no longer the coach of the New Orleans Saints. That's big news. I feel like we should be talking about, discussing, due to the fact that, this changes the coaching carousel in the NFL drastically. I mean, there are reports maybe Dallas might dump Mike McCarthy for Sean Payton. Who knows? But it's just something that we wanted to start the show off talking about. Sean Payton no longer coaching the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like he's gonna immediately jump back into coaching from his because he just had a press conference not too long ago, officially announcing that he's leaving. So I don't foresee him becoming the Cowboys head coach this season, but definitely Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat because, I mean, Sean Payton's been a guy that Jerry Jones has kind of wanted for a while. He used to be on the Cowboys staff many, many years ago. So, yeah, and it seems like a lot of Cowboy fans want Mike McCarthy fired and Sean Payton brought in, but the rumors are he might be going to Fox and be put on with Joe Buck, and he'll replace Troy Aikman because Troy Aikman might be joining Amazon Sports and doing their whole gig that they're apparently setting up over there. Yeah, I mean, it changes the the Saints are a mess right now because they're like $75 million over the salary cap. It's not a good situation there, and it just seems like Sean Payton was just about done. It seems like he's just burnt out. He's been at the Saints for so many years, and been doing it at such a high level, and yeah, an end of an era, definitely, especially for New Orleans. I mean, he really, really turned that franchise around and really made them relevant. So, hopefully, I mean, I'm one of the Cowboy fans that are like, yeah, I kind of want him. But, it doesn't seem like he's about to jump back into coaching right now.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like you said, Carlos, I feel like he's been with the Saints for an eternity, it seems like. And I think there's a time where coaches get burnt out and the love of the game's just not there. And if that's the case, I understand why he's stepping back. Yeah, I would not be surprised if he takes a year or two off or hangs it up for good. Because, I mean, Sean Payton has done a lot. He's been with Drew Brees for pretty much since Drew retired last season. Has it? It's been 1 year since Drew Brees retired, essentially, if I remember correctly. But I mean that era was great, but coaching takes a toll. I know I'm not a football coach or anything like that, but I would assume coaching takes a great toll on your physical and mental health at times. And from what I've gathered, I feel like that's what Sean Payton's doing, just stepping back. And maybe he has family he wants to spend more time with, whatever the reason may be. But I respect it if he's taking a step back just to chill and relax, and maybe he comes back and maybe he doesn't.
I mean, he left the door open. He didn't say he's retiring. It's just right now he just doesn't have the passion and drive to coach. I mean, like you said, like I mean, you do it for so long, and he did get that 1 year off when he got suspended for that whole entire season after the whole Bounty Gate stuff. So he did get like 1 year off during the whole his whole coaching years at New Orleans. So that probably helped him elongate his career a little longer. And he probably was just at the end of his just at the end of what he wanted to do in New Orleans. And like I said, they're like over um they need they're basically going into a rebuild. So I just don't think he wants to go through a rebuild after being at such a high level for so many years. I don't think he
Yeah.
has the mental
Yeah.
capacity to do that.
Yeah, I agree there. You mentioned the year he was off because of Bounty, and I totally forgot about that as well. But
Hmm.
the interesting rumor here before we move on to these divisional round matchups is bringing him into the broadcast booth and replacing Troy Aikman.
Yeah,
Amazon, I'm not sure what they're doing, but still, I mean,
Amazon's
from
taking
a
over Thursday Night Football.
I mean, stuff like that. Like, what if you don't have Amazon? I mean, yeah, most of us
Tragic.
do, but I mean,
Tragic.
I don't like that move. I feel like all games should be on cable in some
I
capacity.
mean, the
And
NFL is about making money, and this was a big money move.
mhm,
So,
yeah, and if Amazon
plus,
has
it
the
doesn't
big
seem like
bucks,
any network really wants Thursday Night Football. To be honest, it's kind of a hassle to do Thursday Night Football and then also do all the Sunday stuff.
yeah, I agree. But that would be very, very, very weird to see Joe Buck not pair with Troy Aikman if this
I
does
agree.
happen. Yeah,
I
I
agree,
mean I mean,
100%.
a lot of fans make fun of, Troy Aikman because of how he looks in the, broadcast booth. His eyes are red all the time, and they make, yeah, it references I won't mention on this show, but, still, it would be very weird. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman have been on Fox, and their voices are well known when it comes to the big game of the week on Fox and Super Bowls as well, so that's gonna be very interesting how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, you said it pretty well. I mean, it would be very strange to see Joe Buck paired with somebody else because he's been with Aikman for so long.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yep. So, Sean Payton stepping away from the New Orleans Saints, the big news of the day right here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. Divisional round. I mean, before we dive in, Carlos, I mean, could we have asked for such a better week of football?
I mean, Sunday was a lot better than Saturday, in my opinion. But I mean, it was a weekend. Everything was
Yeah.
close. The refs sad. I enjoyed it.
Yep. So let's get right into it. The divisional round starting off with the Bengals traveling to the number one seed Tennessee Titans. And I'll tell you one thing, this game was very, very sloppy. Ryan Tannehill only had one touchdown pass, three interceptions, and Joe Burrow didn't even have a touchdown pass, had one interception. Quarterbacks just did not look good at all in this game. And it was just a very, very, very interesting game, in my opinion. I mean, yes, they kept it close. It came down to a game-winning field goal, but I mean, the Titans shooting themselves in the foot with so many turnovers, interceptions by Tannehill, and I mean, in my opinion, Derrick Henry did not look 100%. I mean, Foreman had 66 yards. Henry only had 62 yards on 20 carries. Yes, he got the bulk of the carries, but I mean, did they rush him back too soon? I'm not really sure, but from what I've gathered, excuse me, I don't think Henry was 100% ready.
No, I don't think that he wasn't 100%. I just think he wasn't in football shape. I mean, think about it. His last game was against that one game against the Colts, which is what, week 8, I want to say. And I was saying it leading up to the game. I was saying it. Derrick Henry is. I mean, I doubt he's in football shape. He's not getting hit. He's not in stride. He's basically coming into the most important game cold. He didn't get a warm up game against the Texans when they could have put him in, but they wanted to give him more time to heal up. They gave him plenty of time to heal up. He's should be 100%. He got cleared to play. It's just he wasn't in football shape. He wasn't used to taking those hits, and also his stamina just wasn't there, and he didn't look like
Okay.
himself, and that's what hurt.
You broke up their technical difficulties.
Yeah, my
Okay.
god.
The stream is
Okay,
acting up,
Kirby.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the stream is acting up on my end. I will, Kirby, take it from here. I'll be right back.
All right. Carlos is stepping out, technical difficulties. We do apologize, folks. But I mean, as I mentioned, Derrick Henry, he came off cold. He like Carlos just said as well. He was cold. He could have had that warm-up game against the Texans, which, I mean, if he was ready, you could have just gave him some of the snaps against the Texans. Like, for real, I mean, the Texans aren't really that good of a team, and I mean, their season was terrible. But I mean, against the Texans, I wouldn't have a problem giving Derrick Henry at least 25, 50% of the carries in this football game against the Texans, obviously. So essentially, with 1 week off and limited practice, he comes back. And I mean, I feel like if he was in the Texans game, by chance, I feel like it would be a lot better. He would have done a lot better. But I mean, looking at this game, um, it was just very crazy to see how Joe Burrow didn't even throw a touchdown pass. How Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I'll say once again, the Titans shot themselves in the foot because of those interceptions. AJ Brown. Let's talk about him real quick. AJ Brown, 5 receptions, 142 yards, and Julio Jones, 6 receptions and 62 yards. I mean, the receivers were there, the weapons were there for the Titans, but throughout this entire first half, it was basically field goal, field goals, field goals. Then 10-7 Titans in the second half, and only the game winner by the Bengals in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, this was a game where it was very, very, very just the first half started off slow. I don't think the teams could develop sort of a drive, get like chunk yards, well thought out drives to score. Like we saw in the Chiefs Bills game that we will get into later on. So it was very interesting to see. Let's see here. Pretty much for me, the penalties, not that many penalties from what I saw. So Cincinnati, let's talk about Cincinnati. Jamar Chase, he's still an animal. I think Joe Burrow and the Jamar Chase connection is huge for this Bengals team. And previewing the championship rounds, AFC and NFC championship game, I will also touch on the fact that that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to light it up. They're going to have to light it up in order to take on this Chiefs team, but it was very interesting nonetheless. Joe Burrow 28 for 37, 348 yards, and afterwards, after the game, obviously, Joe Burrow, and the rest of the team, championship, excuse me, celebratory cigars. I knew that was going to happen, but it was interesting to see in all the games on Saturday came up to game-winning field goals, because I feel like that was just very interesting. It just came down to the wire. Yes, the Bengals and the Titans, that game wasn't really, wasn't really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, not really that close. But I mean, in terms of sloppiness, a lot of turnovers and whatnot. But I feel like it was just very, very awesome to see on Saturday games that came down to the wire, because that keeps us entertained more than anything. So let's see how this works. Carlos Martinez bringing him back, the Swiss Army knife. Are you there, Carlos?
Okay, I think I have it figured out. I think we're good. I
All right.
apologize for completely derailing this thing.
Kind of derailing it. We're still working through this software, but I just talked about how so far in this Saturday slate of games, each it came down to a game-winning field goal. But I sort of gave all my thoughts on the Bengals and the Titans, but I was talking about also how the Joe Burrow Jamar Chase connection was absolutely incredible. And we'll touch on the championship rounds, as I mentioned, but I'm going
Mhm.
to touch on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase there as well. But give me any more of your last thoughts you have, Carlos.
No, I mean Joe Burrow just proven that he's a guy. I mean the AFC is so stacked with quarterbacks. You got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. I mean just Lamar Jackson. I mean if you don't have any of those guys, you are in trouble. But yeah, the fact that the Bengals won this game, despite the fact that they allowed 9 sacks, is absolutely insane. Um, what a blunder by the Titans. You get that extra week of rest that you so desperately wanted and needed to get Derrick Henry back. But I think they just banked too hard on Derrick Henry coming back and looking the same, and he didn't. And that was my concern, is that he wasn't going to be in football shape, like I was saying earlier. And yeah, I'm just disappointed in the Titans. Ryan Tannehill did not play well. First play was his first play, throws an interception. His last play throws an interception. Just a terrible performance by Ryan Tannehill. And the Titans definitely underperformed. You go out and you trade for Julio Jones. You think he's the missing piece, and he ends up not being the missing piece. He ends up, you pretty much only go you didn't even get as far as you were expecting to get. So yeah, a bad performance by the Titans. Great performance by the Bengals, and for their kicker to have the big cojones to be practicing on the sideline, swings, and he's like, "Oh, well, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game," right before he
Oh
gets
my
on there to kick the
gosh.
game-winning kick. I mean, that he's got BDE. I mean, just just an absolute savage, man. And I respect it so much, especially from I mean he's a rookie kicker, isn't he, if I remember correctly?
I believe so.
Yeah, so I mean the cojones on that guy, shout out to him. But yeah, for the Bengals, Joe Burrow, I mean to reach the AFC Championship game, despite the fact that you have a terrible offensive line, it shows how special the connection between or Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and his connection with all his other weapons too. We can't leave them out. T. Higgins and Boyd, and of course Joe Mixon. It just shows how they have something special going on there, and if they can just get an offensive line, I mean this team is going to be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Titans and the Bengals, 19-16 in that game. A lot more to get to right here on the Kirby on Sports podcast live. We apologize again for any technical difficulties. And once again, we're still trying to work through this. It's brand new software, but it's very good software. It makes nice professional streams. So we're going to take a quick break.
I actually think
And
it was
when we
my
talk
internet,
back,
but
no,
yeah, it could have just been my computer.
Well, anyways, all is forgiven. We apologize, folks. We'll take a quick break. More football to come on the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you about Regroup Building Services. If you're looking to get your home remodeled, any part of your home, bathroom, kitchen, want to get a deck built, anything like that, Regroup Building Services can just about do everything. And take it from me, because they came in and they remodeled my family's kitchen, and they do a great job. So if you're looking for any sort of home remodeling needs, deck work done, anything of that nature, reach out to my guy Sean Hibbard over at Regroup Building Services today. You can check them out on their website, www.regroupbuildingservices.com, where they do the honeydews that your honey don't. Make sure you tell them Josh sent you. All right, welcome back. The Kirby on Sports podcast live, the divisional round. Once again, joined by the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez. The next game on our slate of games is a chilly matchup. A chilly matchup. Started off 2 degrees. The Packers and the 49ers. And there's a lot to unpack in this game. A lot to unpack. I mean,
I see what you did there.
No, I didn't even try to do that.
I see. It's okay, Kirby. I see what you did.
No, I just realized what I did there. There's a lot to unpack. But anyways, sheesh. Aaron Rodgers, a number 1 seed, and the San Francisco 49ers. The one thing that won this game, one of the keys in winning this game, the 49ers special teams. The Green Bay special teams is atrocious. You saw that last play of the game. They only had 10 guys on that field goal. What the heck? I mean, you're number 1 seed. You're playing at historic Lambeau Field, and it's snowing, and you lose 13-10 against Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. Credit to Kyle Shanahan. The young offensive minds, they're doing one hell of a great job this season. Hands down.
I think that Washington had them all on their staff at one point.
Yeah, don't remind me. But yeah.
And you let them all walk out the building.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo afterwards screaming "F the Packers." I'm not really sure what there is to say, because the special teams for Green Bay, not the best. That block, if that punt block doesn't happen, I think Green Bay moves on.
Yeah, because ultimately the 49ers never scored offensively. They never scored an offensive touchdown in this
Correct.
game. Their offense couldn't really get going. Really, their only real result that this offense had was getting them in position for that game-winning field goal. It's been known. It's been known that Green Bay has a terrible special teams unit. And I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and before the game, the week leading up to the game, and he accounted that into his bet that the Green Bay special teams is going to cost Green Bay points in this game. He ultimately picked the 49ers, and the correct pick, but it's just incredible considering how well they moved the ball on that first drive. It looked like they're about to have their way with this 49ers defense, but after that first drive, there was just nothing there. And I think ultimately what happened was I don't think Aaron Rodgers trusts his other receivers. I don't think he trusts anybody else except Devontae Adams. He kept trying to get the ball to Devontae Adams, even though he was double covered. It was just an overall bad performance by Green Bay. The fact that they made such a big hoopla, like this is the year, all the drama with Aaron Rodgers and, obviously everything that transpired during the season. And then to come out, you get the 1 seed, and to come out, you're at home, you get the full crowd in Green Bay this time, unlike last year where you only had a limited amount of fans. This time you have the full home field advantage. You get a team from Northern California coming over here to Green Bay, Wisconsin in 2-degree weather in the snow, and that's the product you put out at home as the 1 seed. Absolutely ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers played terrible, and Skip Bayless said it best. In the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers seems to be a fraud. I mean, he has the same amount of Super Bowl wins, Super Bowl MVPs, conference championship wins as Nick Foles. I can't believe that. Like, this is supposed to be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever played this game. He's definitely one of the most talented, for sure. You can't deny the boy's talent or the man's talent. He's older than me. I can't call him a boy. Like, you can't deny how that Aaron Rodgers is very talented, and he puts the numbers up in the regular season, but in the playoffs he can't get it done. And this time he can't put it on the defense. The defense played a fantastic game. He just couldn't get the ball moving, and I think the blame solely falls on Aaron Rodgers for not getting the job done.
So, yeah, let's go to the end of the game after Robbie Gould kicks the field goal. The 49ers are celebrating. You see Aaron Rodgers, and you see his facial reaction, and from what I saw, it was like been there, done that. He didn't seem too fazed about it, but I would not be surprised if that is Rodgers' last time walking out of Lambeau Field, whether he retires or he's with another team. But just the way I saw it, I had doubts that he would be back with Green Bay next season.
Yeah, I do too. Like going into this season, I didn't think he was going to leave. I just felt like, they had just lost the NFC Championship game. They were a play away from winning that thing against Tampa. But I don't know. Just coming out of this one, like it, they have a lot of decisions they have to make in terms of the team. They don't have the salary cap to keep everybody. Who knows what's going to happen with Devontae Adams? Are they going to franchise tag him? Or are they going to let him go? My guess is they're probably going to franchise tag him. And honestly, the question they have to ask is, are they ready for Jordan Love to take over?
Aaron Rodgers stated he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild.
And that's what I'm saying. So if the Packers are going to go into a rebuild, then cut ties with Aaron Rodgers. He's done everything he can for this franchise, except win playoff games. But it's just time. I think it's time that they separate. I think the relationship apparently seems like it's in a good place, but I just think maybe the Rodgers era is over in Green Bay. I think I just don't see them having the team that Rodgers is going to need to make the run that they're going to want to make with Aaron Rodgers on the team.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you pretty much said it well.
But we have to give a lot of credit to the 49ers defense, because they were in Aaron Rodgers' face all night, and I think that is what really, really disrupted, because we saw during the wild card round. I mean, we saw during the wild card round, they were, even when Nick Bosa went out of the game against Dallas, I mean, that pass rush was still in Dak's face. And then in this game, Nick Bosa is obviously back, and he just dominated. And I think not having Bakhtiari, which who knows what happened to Bakhtiari, not having him in the lineup really, really hurt this offensive line in stopping the rush. And yeah, ultimately, I think Aaron Rodgers just reverted back to just trying to get the ball to Devontae Adams, because he's the guy he most trusts on this team. And apparently it seemed like the 49ers knew that that if they could just make Rodgers uncomfortable, he's going to always try to get it to Devontae Adams. And if that happens, that's your best shot at winning. And, there's some screenshots of, Rodgers trying to get the ball to Devontae Adams, but he's got open players, on the other side of the field if he would have just looked that way. So overall, not a great game by Aaron Rodgers, but a fantastic performance defensively by the 49ers. I mean, I can't say the same offensively. Offensively, they didn't do much, but, yeah. I mean, the 49ers right now, they're hot right now. And, I mean, they're winning games even though Jimmy G's not doing much, in some of these games.
We'll get to the Rams and the Bucs in just a moment, but two offensive minds facing off in the NFC Championship game. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I mean, we've seen it twice already. I mean, it's a trilogy fight for this season, but
trilogy fight.
But everything's at stake this time. In the last game, it was just the 49ers making it into the playoffs. This time it's for the Super Bowl. So, like you said, we'll obviously touch on that later. But I mean, man, what a I mean, do you think the Rams are kind of kicking themselves right now? They're like, man, we could have kept this team out if we would have just put them out of their misery.
I wonder if they're thinking that right now. The 49ers 13 and the Green Bay Packers 10. We'll take a quick break and talk about the Sunday slate of games right after this. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Back with you on the Kirby on Sports podcast live. Thanks again to everybody for tuning in. Please feel free to drop your comments, and we'd love to answer some questions as well. The next game, divisional round, the Rams and the Buccaneers. I mean, this was a tale of two halves. The narrative was set. This was definitely. The Rams up at halftime. 20 to 3.
It was 20 to 3, yeah. So it was a 17-point lead going into halftime.
It was essentially 28 to 3. Let's just for purposes of the narrative, and we have Tom Brady on the other side. The storylines come out,
but it wasn't 20. It wasn't 28 to 3 because they never reached. I mean, they didn't get to 28.
Yeah, no,
they got to 27. We can't do that. It's a different narrative. That's a different narrative. This was 27 to 3.
All right. Well, so the Rams had a big lead over Tom Brady, and then the Bucs try marching back and back and back, but fall just short. But the ending of that game was ridiculous. Incredible. I mean, let's talk about the first half. The Rams seemed to have it all together in the first two quarters. And it was crazy. I think the big things were the penalty shooting the Bucs in the foot. And two key penalties. Ndamukong Suh, unsportsmanlike conduct. He was just running his mouth at Matthew Stafford. He claimed that Stafford kicked him. Former teammates, I understand how that goes, but Suh looks like a hothead. I would not want to poke the bear right there. But Ndamukong Suh there. And Tom Brady, congratulations. Your first ever the personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. His first ever of his career. yelling at the referee after getting a no call. I just can't believe the ref that just went up through the flag. I was like, wait, number 12 on the Bucks? Brady got a penalty. I mean, that was his first. That it was just crazy to see him get a penalty in this game. But Tom
Mm-hmm.
Brady, the entire game, he was getting pressured, got
Mm-hmm.
sacked a couple times. The pressure was there. The Rams defense definitely did step up for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And I mean, the second half, it caught some lucky breaks for the Rams. Eric Weddle, it could have been a pass interference, but the ball dropped. I thought pass interference, but the ball dropped. So it was a dead ball. That means the Rams still had the ball. That was a lucky break. And I mean, there was so much that happened in this game. Give me some of your thoughts.
I mean, yeah, the loss definitely didn't fall on Brady, I guess. I mean, the defense just didn't show up in the biggest moment. They did what they did help get back into this game. Obviously, they caused like what was it, 3 fumbles that helped
Yeah.
that helped Tampa. Cam Akers had 2. Then Cooper
They
Cup
weren't
had the
taking care
one.
of the football.
They definitely weren't, and that has been the issue with the Rams. What happened in the 49ers game? They started giving the ball away. When you have that big lead, you have to protect you have to protect it. Now the issue being is the Rams don't have a great run game. They just got Cam Akers back. He did look like a stud in the last round against the Cardinals, but that's against the Cardinals. The Bucks do have a great run defense, and really where Tampa was getting killed was in the passing game, and because their secondary, I mean, this is like the first time their whole secondary has played together since like week 1 against Dallas, if I remember that
Yeah,
correctly.
I saw that. I saw that.
And that's insane. So yeah, ultimately, it was the mistakes of the Rams that let them that let the Bucks back into the game, and Brady did everything he could to tie it up and try to send it to overtime, and then Stafford and the Rams were like, well, listen, we're not about to become the meme. We're not gonna Falcon here. We're we're gonna we have to win this. We can't become another name in Tom Brady's ledger of epic comebacks, So and on that last play to Cooper Cup, the Dev
Incredible.
according to reports is that it was a miscommunication in the defense. Some people thought that they got the call that they were blitzing. Some people didn't. And that play technically was not supposed. Cooper Cup was not supposed to even be the target on that play. That play is not supposed to work the way it did, and Cooper Cup just found himself miraculously wide open, and Matthew Stafford hit it, and that's why they traded for Matthew Stafford for moments like that. Now, obviously, I don't know if the Rams are necessarily leaving that game feeling good, knowing that hey, like we put on a huge lead on this, and then we let this team come back. But it's the Buccaneers, it's the Super Bowl champs. They have Tom Brady, Brady on the team. Like no lead is safe with Brady on the other side. So, I'm pretty sure for them, this is a throwaway tape. They're like, okay, this happened. We'll address everything that happened, but we're not going to watch this film again. We know we need to just take better care of the ball and not let off the gas. And for the Bucks, I mean, now there's just a lot of uncertainty right now because now we don't know what's going to happen with Tom Brady. We don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the roster because they're have a lot of people signed on 1-year deals, and salary cap is going to become an issue. And yeah, so good for the Rams to not Falcon here and get and get the win. But I mean, what an epic comeback from Brady, once again proving that he's the GOAT.
I mean, this game was so entertaining to watch, but looking at it, it was so sloppy at times.
Mm-hmm.
I'll address back to the Rams not taking care of the football. They had like 3 or 4 fumbles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the 2 from
Um,
Akers, 1 from Cup. That's the only ones I remember. I don't know if there's another one there.
well, Cam Akers, coming back from injury, had 48
Mm,
yards in that game as well. But looking here just to make sure, the Rams have 4 fumbles and they lost all 4. That's unacceptable.
unacceptable.
If you play like that in the NFC Championship game, you're not going to win. You're not going to
Especially
win.
against the
Period.
49ers. I mean that again
Absolutely.
that's what costed them the game, that last game of the season. Now ultimately it worked out for the Rams because, well, I mean, it didn't really work out for the Rams because then they were the 2 seed and then they dropped to the 4 seed. So if they would have stayed the 2, this game would have been in SoFi in Los Angeles, but because they had that, what was it, they had a 17-point lead over the 49ers. The Niners get the field goal at the end, so then it comes down to just a 2-touchdown lead, right? Going into the second half. And then what proceeded to happen? The Rams did not take care of the ball. They turned it over. They kept letting the 49ers back in this thing. And that's what happened here. The Rams need to protect the football and also not let off the gas and put the game away. Had they scored that touchdown, what was it, at the end of the first half, that game was essentially going to be, and would have gone up 27-3 going into halftime, and then would have come out and scored again and put it to 34-3. There's no way Brady's making all that ground up in one half, even with all the turnovers and stuff. But because that's right, that's where the other fumble came, was at the 1-yard line. They fumbled the ball and they didn't get into the end zone on that play. I mean, it essentially again opened the door for the Bucs. And and what was I saying all game? If you give Tom Brady a second chance, he's going to make you pay. And he kept making them pay and making them pay and making them pay. And then ultimately the magic did run out, but it wasn't on Tom Brady. It's just the Bucs defense didn't make the stop.
I'm not sure if this is considered a fumble, but another play, with the back-to-back turnovers by both teams, just flip-flopping. The
Mm-hmm.
snap that went over Stafford's head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for real, stuff like that you really have to clean up.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and especially, I understand you're in Tampa, right? But I mean, it's the playoffs, right? Like, and you're one of the top teams in the league. You're a Sean McVay coach team. How do you make a blunder like that, and completely snap? And Stafford was not ready for that snap. He wasn't calling for it yet. The center just jumped the gun and snapped it and shot it way over Stafford's head. And obviously then Tampa recovered it. And I'm pretty sure they probably scored on that. I can't really remember. There's so much football that happened this weekend. And obviously with the next game that we're about to talk to, that takes a majority of the space of my head right now. But yeah, I mean, just sloppy, like you said, sloppy mistakes by both teams, but ultimately the Rams in the second half were making the more consequential mistakes and letting the Bucs back into the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you said that perfectly. It was an entertaining but sloppy game. The last play, I mean, just that bomb to Cup and then the game-winning field goal, that was crazy. But we do
Mm-hmm.
have to address Tom Brady is going to think about his future.
Yeah. I mean, come on, the guy's 44. He's about to be 45. The Bucs not necessary. We don't. There's a lot of uncertainty on that team right now as to, you know, who's coming back, who's not going to be back. Is this team really going to be ready for? I mean, Brady's not coming back to play for, a mid-level team. Who can make the playoffs but isn't ready to make a Super Bowl run. He needs to. He's coming back to play on a championship caliber team. So,
Mhm.
I think what ultimately Brady's probably going to wait for is just to see what decisions are made in terms of the potential free agents, who they're going to keep. And obviously, we don't know. I mean, the Chris Godwin injury is going to be interesting because he was on the, if I remember correctly, he was on the franchise tag. It's a torn ACL. He's not going to be back until the middle of the season next year, probably. So, yeah, there's just so much uncertainty with this team, and obviously they had so much, happen with, again, like I said, the Godwin injury, and then with the whole, Antonio Brown situation, which, Obviously an interview's about to come out with him here later tonight, and we saw the clip of him earlier.
We saw the
Not
tweet too.
And then the tweet. Obviously, he wants to be on Dan's Ravens, and obviously then him celebrating the Bucks getting eliminated. Just, I mean, yeah, what a. I digress. But yeah. Long story short, I mean, yeah, who knows what he's going to decide? The only person that knows is going to be Tom Brady. And I don't know. I just feel like this would be such an unceremonious. I don't think Brady's going to want to retire like this, So I think he might make one more go at it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does retire. But but my gut feeling is he's probably going to come back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Definitely will be an end of an era when Tom Brady retires, for sure. That is the Bucks and the Rams. The Rams defeating the Bucks and Tampa 30-27. We will talk about a very, very, very exciting matchup all coming your way next. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Oh my, a wardrobe change is here. Are we ready?
And the home of the
Chiefs. How about them Chiefs?
Epic game. How about them Chiefs?
What an epic game. Where do we start with this, Carlos? Where do we start with this?
I don't even know. Like, where do we begin? Where do we begin? I mean,
I'll tell you one thing we can start off on. Let me just find it here. Just to make sure I have this correctly. The Buffalo Bills, only 3 penalties for 15 yards. The Kansas City Chiefs, 1 penalty for 10 yards.
4 penalties all game.
Talk about this was the cleanest game.
It wasn't necessarily the cleanest game. It was the refs didn't make themselves part of the narrative in this game. I mean, think about it. They could have easily called Tyreek Hill for taunting when he pieced the guy in front of him because he knew he was going to run right past him. That technically should have been called for taunting, but the referees knew we cannot make ourselves the narrative in this epic game, and they made the right move and didn't throw the flag. This is how officiating should be. Don't call rinky-dink calls and ruin the game. Let the boys play football. Obviously, if it's egregious enough, you have to call it. But I mean, Tyreek Hill putting up the peace sign is not worth a penalty that's going to ultimately affect the game. Shout out to the referees in that game for doing the right thing and letting this game play out, because this was epic. And the more time I've had to digest this game and go back and rewatch the last like couple sequences in that game, I just can't believe what the heck we watched. Like that really happened, and we were here reacting to it live. Yeah, hopefully a lot of people joined in on that, because I mean we had a pretty decent crowd there to watch.
Yeah, we did.
And just an absolute epic game. We had a lot of fun doing that live stream. And yeah, it just, oh man, just the quarterback play, just everything about this game was just freaking awesome. I can't even just put into words what happened.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking here at the box score, and the first and second quarter basically long drives, like with like time of possession, using that to their advantage. So basically a touchdown a quarter for the first and second quarter. Then the Chiefs get a field goal out of the deal as well. So then it's basically whoever scores the lead changes. Then the fourth quarter, we're just going off scoring left and right. I mean, the amount of lead changes you had in the fourth quarter as comparison to the first, second, and third quarter is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely,
I mean, like,
incredible.
You could easily say the first three quarters were kind of just, like, yeah, this is a fun game to watch. But that fourth quarter was just epic. I mean, everything blew up. So, and there we go. We just pulled up the stats here. Yeah, just like Kansas City. I mean, Patrick Mahomes putting up almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Both teams scored that combined 25 points in the final 2 minutes. I mean, this game was just absolutely insane. And Josh Allen, man, listen, we have to talk about the overtime rules here.
Yeah, it needs to change. I know you're a Chiefs fan, but we're all in agreement. It needs to change.
Yeah, but it's not even because the same thing happened to Kansas City like 2-3 years ago against the Patriots. You know, it's the AFC Championship game. Obviously, D Ford just costed the Chiefs the win, and we go to overtime, and you know Tom Brady and the Patriots win the coin toss, and Tom Brady takes them down, and they score a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes never sees the field. He never got a chance to respond, and you know then we come to this game, and it's kind of it's the reverse. It's Josh Allen didn't get a chance to respond. I just feel for the playoffs. At least the playoffs, they need to change the rules. You can keep these, you know, the whole. At least in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry, in the regular season, I think it's one 10-minute period. Obviously, it's the same rules: score a field goal, the other team gets a possession, score a touchdown, game's over. Whereas in the playoffs, I mean, like, this is do or die. This is what the whole season has come down to. And I understand, like, defensive players are like, oh, don't change the rule, you know, like, because, like, that's what I've been hearing, you know, left and right on different podcasts and reading different things. Like, defensive players are like, listen, if you can't make the stop, you don't deserve to win. But, I mean, with how epic this game was, I mean, Buffalo's defense was just exhausted. And with that being said, you're really not going to give the guy who was, you know, the team that was literally 13 seconds away from victory, you're not going to give them a chance to come out and respond. I feel like, you know, I see a lot that some people don't want the college rules because they think that, you know, they just want nothing in college football and the NFL. I see people who want the college football overtime rules because, you know, obviously they think it's epic because, especially the newer ones, because it's like you get three periods where you start from the 25-yard line. If you go past those 3 periods, and then in the third period you have to go for 2. And then after that third period, it's just straight 2-point conversion plays from then on. So you only get one chance to score. Which is epic. I mean, it's produced some epic games, some longer games, but it's produced some epic results. But I heard an interesting idea on the Bill Simmons podcast, and I want to throw it by you, Kirby, see what you think. So Kansas City took 6 plays to score um on that last drive at the end of overtime, right? It took them 6 plays to get to the end zone. What if the rule is that the Bills then have 6 plays to go and score themselves? And they have like a count that like there's like then like a countdown like thing shows up like at the bottom of the screen, 6 plays. Romo's going crazy about it. He's like, "Oh, Jim, they only have 3 plays left and they got to go like 45 more yards." And then obviously if they score, then it goes to just sudden death after that. Right? Like what would you think of that idea? And then obviously if they don't score in 6 plays, the game ends.
I would rather if Kansas City were to score the touchdown, Buffalo can match that. I don't really like the idea of you can only do it in X amount of plays to match what they did, but I understand that seems like something fun, but I would rather just straight up match them in however many plays you can. I mean, I like it, but I don't really. I mean, it's really confusing. I think it'd be fun. I just wouldn't really want to see it. But
just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it could make things even more interesting if they implement something like that for the playoffs. But definitely the overtime rules. I mean, Josh Allen said it best. If we were coming out on offense, we'd be the ones celebrating.
Yeah,
and I don't doubt that. Yeah, 100%. So a coin flip won Kansas City this football game.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And I think that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I think especially in the playoffs, like I said, like this is like everything is on the line at this point, And the fact that that Josh Allen played such an epic game. He was so good in this game, and obviously now people are starting to compare this rival, or starting to adequate. I can't think of the word, but there's basically starting to say that this is the next Brady Manning rivalry, which I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know if we can necessarily put that label on it, but so far we've had epic games between the two, and this was the most epic game that we saw this weekend, and the stakes were so high in this game, and the fact that it just ended and Josh Allen doesn't get to see the field despite the fact that they played the game of their lives. And I understand you're 13 seconds away and you don't make a stop. That's on you. You had a chance to stop them in overtime and you didn't. You still lost. But still, like, I mean, I would have still loved to see Josh Allen go out there and try and, tie it back up and give his chance a team to win. The fact that they didn't get to see the field kind of, it stinks. But, rules is rules. And this is how the game went. And obviously I'm happy because obviously I was the only one who picked Kansas City. You two stooges thought the Bills were going to win it. And they were 13 seconds away from winning it. You guys were close. But Patrick Mahomes just once was like, "Oh, you guys think Josh Allen is the guy of this era? Allow me to reintroduce myself as the one of this generation. I've won an MVP in a Super Bowl. I've been to back-to-back Super Bowls. I've now been to 4 straight AFC Championship games. And you guys are ready to crown this guy?" And he went out there and he put on a show. And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce came out also. And, I mean, yeah, this was just such an epic game, man. I can't praise these two teams enough, man. Like Buffalo, I feel so bad for their fans because like this is it sucks to lose this way, but in terms of Chiefs, I'm very happy, and obviously my heart goes out because the Bills have been through so much heartbreak, through the years. But obviously I was rooting for the Chiefs, but like I said, it sucks to see the Bills lose like that.
Yeah. I mean, jeez. I mean, yeah, looking at the Bills once again, I mean, yeah, impressive on both sides. I mean, there's not really a negative thing to say about this game except for the overtime rules.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody. Josh Allen looked great. He was out there, 68 yards rushing. You have Patrick Mahomes, 69 yards rushing and a touchdown. I mean, it was all there. The game was electrifying, hands down. I mean, any way you look at it, it was a very, very, very exciting game. And what was the cherry on top for divisional weekend?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, there was no better way to, yeah, to really go out of that game like that. That was the best way to end it, or to end the weekend. And yeah, I just, you couldn't have just, I mean, there's a reason why they put that in prime time. And having Jim Nantz and Tony Romo call, that was epic. And then just being on the us having our live stream, and that was also
fun.
awesome.
A lot of fun.
That was really
we live
awesome.
streamed that game. You can go back and watch it. It was a darn blast, man.
Yeah, you can see our reaction at the end.
So much fun.
You can see me celebrating with my dog Chief. Yeah, it was awesome. And then us kind of giving our immediate, that's where you can see our most immediate and raw thoughts on the game. And just, yeah, just what an epic game. I mean, I still can't believe like we got to see that. Like, that was just awesome. And I just wish that was for the I wish that was the AFC Championship game, because I don't know how this game lives up to that. Like, how do you live up to one of the greatest matchups that we've ever had? Now, we've seen the matchup between the Chiefs and the Bengals before, and obviously we're going to touch on the previews later, but I just don't know how you. I mean, these are the two best teams in the AFC, in my opinion, is the Bills and the Chiefs. And the Bills obviously had a rockier season, but they were getting it together here at the end, and this was the crescendo game. This was what everything was building up to, was this game, and for them to lose in overtime that way is why it's so heartbreaking, because, like I said, like, this was Josh Allen's masterpiece. This was his, like, perfect symphony. Like, there was no turnovers in this game. Like, none. I mean, not that I can think of. Like, there was no fumbles. Nope. There was obviously no interceptions. I mean, and I feel like that is the key thing in this game compared to when they played earlier in the season, was the whole not having multiple because Patrick Mahomes, at least for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes had like 2 interceptions in the game that they played earlier in the season. But in this game, he played a clean game, a smart game, a patient game, no sacks, and just, yeah, I'm just, like I said, Patrick Mahomes is just like, allow me to reintroduce myself, and there you go. Just an epic game. I mean, there's not much left to say about it, so.
Divisional weekend was so much fun, and we have the preview of the championship weekend and our picks. Dan, unfortunately, he is not here. He is defeated, but we will preview the match. We will talk about it, preview the matchups, and so much more. It's all coming your way right after these words from our sponsors.
Hey, sports fans. Thank you for listening to and supporting the Kirby on Sports podcast with founder and host Josh Kirby, along with lead contributor Dan Demski. Like, subscribe, and give them a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast from. My name is Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation. Our company helps leaders build engaged and productive teams. Exclusively for listeners of the Kirby on Sports podcast, you can take an opportunity to discover your primary communication style and learn more about effective communication with others. Text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free copy of the Working From Home Communication Assessment, where you'll learn your primary communication style, how to better communicate with others not like you, and tips on working remotely based on your personal communication style. 10 minutes, tons of resources. Learn about yourself and your team. Again, text Kirby to 757-903-0743 for your free assessment report today. I'm Dr. Dave Miles, founder of Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, where we help you and your team be more engaged and productive by understanding each other better. Back to you, Josh.
Hey there, this is Mark Francis of Icon Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs in the Winchester surrounding area, including West Virginia, give me a call. I've got extensive experience, been in the business for almost 20 years, and would love to help you out. Track me down at Icon Real Estate, iconsells.com, or even give me a call, 540-247-1527. Again, Icon Sells, ICONSELLS.com, and I would love to chat with you and help you out. Give me a call.
Sunday, January 30th, the number 4 Bengals, the number 2 Chiefs on the AFC side, the number 6 49ers against the number 4 Los Angeles Rams on the NFC side. Championship weekend is upon us. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We're almost done. We're almost to the finish line. We got 3 games left. 3 games left in this football season.
I can't believe it.
We got to enjoy it because soon football will be gone.
Okay, it's time for preview and picks. We're live. We'll throw up Dan's picks here in a moment. Unfortunately, Dan with not so great of a week, but it's all right.
He had the worst possible week. So, for preference, last week for the wild card, Dan went undefeated. He went 6 for 6. Feeling real good about himself. If you were a betting man or betting woman, you would take advice from Dan because he picked every game correctly. If you follow his advice this week, you lost a lot of money because he went 0 for 4. He went from undefeated to defeated, and he decided not to show up. I'm kidding. He had something else to. It wasn't.
He didn't show up because we were gonna rag on him.
He didn't show up, that coward. He didn't show up. Just like how Kirby didn't show up when the Cowboys won the division.
That's right.
Dan doesn't show up because he is ashamed of himself. With that being said, he did provide us with his picks. Pull it up, Kirby. Put it on the board.
Let's do it. Hold on. Technical difficulty. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
And then.
Oh, geez. Hold up. Wrong one. There we go.
There
we go.
Dan's conference chip. So Dan is now currently 6 and 4. Him and Kirby are tied for the top dog position at 6 and 4. Kirby picked correctly one game. So Kirby went 1 and 3. He only correctly picked the Rams. His wrong picks were obviously the Titans, the Packers, and the Bills. I was 2 and 2. So I made an epic comeback, and I'm now 1 game out from being tied with these guys. I picked the Bengals and the Chiefs to win. Green Bay really threw us for a loop. We all picked the Packers, so we all got that wrong. And me and Dan picked the Buccaneers, and we got that pick wrong. And obviously that was Kirby's correct pick. He picked the Rams. So Dan so graciously gave us his picks. He picked Kansas City and the Los Angeles Rams to win their games, and that is the Super Bowl matchup in SoFi Stadium. In what are we, 3 weeks away from the Super Bowl?
3 weeks.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks away from the Super Bowl. Jeez, that's so long. So yeah, 3 weeks away from the Super Bowl. So Dan has the Chiefs and the Rams, obviously because his Super Bowl pick, the Tennessee Titans, did not make it past this round. So Kirby.
I'll say this first and foremost.
What do we think of his picks, and should we be concerned that he's getting a little desperate?
I mean, I think he doesn't want to pick the underdog, that's for sure. Because if both the underdogs lose, then Dan's 6 and 6.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how I look at it.
It's a smart pick. It's a smart pick.
Look, let me say this. Let me say this before we make our picks or anything. If Los Angeles makes it to the Super Bowl, this will be the second year in a row where the team hosting
The team hosting the Super Bowl,
is,
yeah.
which is nuts to me.
Yeah,
I'm just
considering
saying.
that we went through all this, like every Super Bowl prior, there was no home team, and then last year the Bucks do it, and now it looks like, and now the Rams are in prime position to do it as well. Obviously, they still have to play the game, and they don't have an easy opponent. We're about to break that down here in a second, but yeah, I mean, that would be insane if the Rams do pull this off, and it's another year where the home, the team hosting, or the team's stadium or home stadium that's hosting the Super Bowl is having that team play in it. So, yeah, just insane.
Without further ado, let's get to our picks. Are we ready?
Yeah.
The Bengals and the Chiefs, these teams played once before. The Cincinnati Bengals came out on top. It was a high-flying shootout.
Yes.
Anything I missed from that game that we should add from that previous matchup?
No, I mean, that was Jamar Chase's really big coming out party where he just lit up that Chiefs secondary. They're going to be a tough opponent, but the difference being this time it's at Arrowhead. It's at Arrowhead. It's the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs have been here. They just played an epic game against the second best team in the AFC. I don't think the Bengals have enough to, especially on that line. I just don't think. I think in this situation, the Chiefs are going to show that game earlier was not like changing of the guard type thing where the Bengals have their number. I think the Chiefs are going to play a lot better in this game. They're at home. They're going to have the entire, they're going to have Chiefs Kingdom there just roaring on top of the Bengals. But we know Joe Burrow can stay cool under pressure, and he was sacked 9 times and he still found a way to win. So so long as the Chiefs don't let the Bengals hang around, I think the Chiefs win this. So I'm going with the Chiefs. I have to go with the Chiefs. Come on.
Well, this pick for me is really, really close. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are an electric duo.
100%.
And, I mean, the Bengals have had a lot of magic this season.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to get to the AFC Championship game, this was something we didn't really expect.
They're playing with house money right now.
House money, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it's a close game, but I think the house money runs out. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Write that down, too.
All right. So, all 3 of us have picked the Kansas City Chiefs.
Are we ready for the NFC?
Hold on. So that means now, if we all 3 get this pick correct, the standings pretty much the same. You and Dan stay tied, and then I stay in last place.
I guess.
So, all right.
The NFC Championship game, the 49ers and the Rams, the trilogy. They've played twice this season in the same division. The most recent matchup going into overtime, and the 49ers end up winning to get into the playoffs.
Yes, and obviously the question really going in this game is, does Kyle Shanahan have Sean McVay's number? Kyle Shanahan is 6-0 against Sean McVay. Beat them twice this season. Obviously, they beat them to get into the playoffs. Now this is basically like a situation of is this, dealing with the monster you created for the Rams. I mean, they they were leading the 49ers. They were beating them, and then they let them make the comeback and win in overtime to get into the playoffs, and now they have to face that demon of the 49ers in the playoffs and now for the highest stakes possible, the Super Bowl. I said this in the beginning, when we were doing our season previews, to beware of the 49ers. I mean, again, think about it. This was a team 2 years ago that was a couple plays away from beating Kansas City for the Super Bowl. They just eventually that defense just eventually got tired, and then Kansas City started going to work. And last season they just had the year from hell, and obviously it was a COVID year, so it was a strange year. And they had all those injuries, and then obviously they got kicked out of their home stadium and had to go play in Arizona for a couple weeks. So this season has really been like affirming that what happened 2 years ago wasn't a fluke, that this team is legit. Now, what's the weakness in the 49ers? Their offense. In terms Jimmy G's passing. Jimmy G is going to make a mistake in this game. He's going to turn the ball over. He always does. He's going to make an errant throw that's going to get picked off. The question is, can Los Angeles clean up these sloppy mistakes, fumbling the ball, turning the ball over, and play a clean game and build a lead and maintain that lead? That is the key here for the Rams to win this game. They essentially just have to put this game completely out of reach and try and stifle the running game from the 49ers. Now the question also is what's going to go on inside that stadium. Are there going to be a lot of 49er fans there again? Are the Rams actually going to have a home field advantage? That remains to be seen. This is a tough pick because the 49ers right now are hot. They remind me a lot of those like Eli Manning led Giants teams where like the defense really led the way and all Eli Manning had to do was just not cost the game. That's kind of essentially what that's the position Jimmy G is in right now. He needs to just take care of the ball and let the running game do what it does, and then every now and again make a pass that's going to be consequential here. This is a tough pick, but I'm gonna go with the Rams. Because of the weapons the Rams have, they have Cooper Kupp, they have Odell Beckham Jr., who's looking a lot better on this team. It looks like he's actually having fun here. Cam Akers, if he can just protect the ball and get back and run the way he ran against the Cardinals, I think it'll be too much for the 49ers. I don't think the 49ers necessarily have the firepower to stay in this game with the Rams, but I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers somehow pull this off. But I'm going to go with the Rams.
I like what you said. I think this game's going to be really close, but I'm picking the 49ers, and it will be another Super Bowl rematch.
Okay.
I just like the Niners. I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah.
But I think the Niners are red hot, and they're going to keep it rolling.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, I will not be surprised if somehow the Niners win this. I would not be surprised. Like you said, they're red hot right now. Their defense is incredible. That front four is just so dominant. They just constantly are putting pressure on you. Yeah. I could easily see the 49ers doing this and getting the job done and making it to the Super Bowl again and rematching with the Chiefs. I can see that too. But I just think this is the moment that the Rams have been waiting for. This is the reason why they went out and got Matthew Stafford. This is the reason why they went out and got Odell Beckham Jr., why they got Von Miller, why they signed all these players. They're doing this for now. They want that trophy. This is the moment that these guys were brought in for. And obviously they have the best player in football in Aaron Donald. And yeah, I just think ultimately, and then obviously they have Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. I just think this is going to be a different game. This is for everything. Like this is even bigger than just making the playoffs and playoff seeding. This is for the Super Bowl, and this is what the Rams want. They want to play in SoFi for the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with, that's why my pick is going to be the Rams. But like I said, I won't be surprised if somehow the 49ers pull this off.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Championship weekend is upon us. Carlos, Dan, we really missed you, by the way, buddy. Carlos, any last words for the show?
You coward! Face me, you coward!
Yeah.
No, Dan, I miss you, buddy. Miss you, pal. I wish you were here. I really do.
Carlos, I appreciate you hopping on, buddy.
Yes, sir. Always. Can't wait. I can't wait for championship.
Can't wait for next week.
We may be doing a live stream for one of the games that's TBD, to be determined. But if we don't see you for that, enjoy this, because this is what it all comes down to. We got the Final Four here.
Absolutely. Once again, thanks to our sponsors, Trumbull Insurance Agency, 540-532-0622, and for our sponsors, Regroup Building Services, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, and Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate. This has been another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Thanks for everybody who tuned in live. The audio version will be posted up on all streaming platforms later on. For the Swiss Army Knife, Carlos Martinez, I am Josh Kirby. Find us on all streaming platforms, all social media platforms, and KirbyOnSports.com. Until the next time you hear us or see us, always remember to create greatness. So long and peace out.